Oh, you're right, guys. Couple of weeks back now, I did a video on various methods of seed sowing. So I suppose the next logical step is a little bit of pricking out and potting on. Now I've got my Cape gooseberries, some green dragon cucumbers, some various flowers in there to prick out, if you can call it pricking out, more about that in a minute, and some tomatillos, the giant Bolivian acucha, and black beauty aubergines to pot on. So first up, let's get the pricking out sorted out first, which is the next logical step, really. I'm doing both of these in one video. Now, your classic pricking out would be where you've got loads of seedlings in a tray. This is a quarter tray, this one. But I don't do much like that. I don't sow much like that. I tend to do mine in modules, cells and modules, and the Agrilan. Where are we? Agrilan, come up here, make an appearance. In the Agrilan, so things are a little bit easier for me. But what I did do, because these were, well, I thought they were old seeds, I sowed the Cape gooseberries a bit like the traditional method. So what do you need for pricking out then? Well, you need the seedlings for a start. You need some pots to put them in. I'm going to do these in these little square 5 centimetre pots. Something to lift the seedlings out with. You can get bespoke made little forks. You can actually use a kitchen fork, a dinner fork. Plant label will do. You need a dibber to make a hole in the compost, and you need some compost. This is multi-purpose compost. A little bit damp, not too damp, because I want to be able to pour it into the pot and around the seedling, if you like. Get rid of that blooming ash seed. I hate that tree. So traditionally with the trays, I'm going to just do it, pretend to do it. All right, pretend, because I haven't got any. What you can do is you've got your compost. You just lift the seedlings out gently, or what you can do as well is exactly what I'm going to do, is tip the seedlings out in one go, especially if they're all one type of plant, one type of seedling. So gently hold the tops, tip them out, and there we are. Hello, wasp. Gently break the roots apart, very gently, because they've taken all this time to grow. Split them up a little bit, there we are. I'm not really fussed if I get more than one seedling in a pot, because I can always thin them out later. I don't want to damage the roots too much, see? There we go. So that's 4 plants. So what I'm going to do then, got my little pot. Compost in the pot is one way of doing it. Dibbing a hole, I'm using my Lego dibber. Finding your seedling, and let's find a smallish one for this, because it's a small hole, and just gently ease it into the hole, pressing down gently, tap around the sides, a little bit more compost on top if it's a bit too low, gentle firming, nothing too hard, and most importantly, label. I do the numbering system. These are number 57, so I'll just do a couple of number 57s on here. Excuse me a second, guys. There we are, labelled up. So I'll set that aside for watering. Right, now this one here, the roots are a little bit too big to do it that way. So what I'll do, a little bit of compost in the bottom, pop the root in, then holding the seedling, pour some compost around the outside. Give it a tap to get it settled in. There we are. And a little gentle firming. 2 done. Water these in a second, and I think, yeah, the next one will be the same as that. A little bit of compost in the bottom, in with the root system, hold the top, a little bit of compost around the outside, There we are, 2, 3 done. And the last one, yeah, that's too big again. Now, of course, you could put it in a bigger pot. In fact, I'll do this one in a bigger pot for you. And then we can compare how the small pot compares to the bigger pot. The danger with the bigger pot, it doesn't matter if it goes into anything that's too big. A lot of people say it's too big, you had to. The only problem can be with watering, and you can get too much water retention. It can go a bit soggy. So what I'll do with this one, I'll do it the first way again. I'll fill the pot. Use the dibber, make a big hole. And then very gently holding the leaves. You can hold the stem at this stage, it's a very strong stem on these Cape gooseberries. There we are. Yeah, we'll see how they grow. So they're going to go in a little water bath now. I'll do that now to show you. I always do the watering from the bottom. It's a little bit easier for me, but the one thing it does do, or doesn't do, is it doesn't splash up the soil or the compost onto the leaves. And that is where quite a lot of diseases can come from. Right, so let's get some water in there. There we are, that'll soak up nicely. Right, let's move that out of the way a minute. Okay, next up is, or are, these green dragon cucumbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so what I'm going to do with these, I know they're number 87, so I'll write 87 on them. And this is, again, it's not traditional pricking out. I suppose really it is more of a potting on when you're coming from cells. So compost in the pot. This is a 7cm pot. Dib a big hole. Ease the cucumber out of the cell tray, and these were multi-sown, so what I'm going to do is break off the smaller one there. Come here. And then square plug, square hole, fits in nicely, sir. There we are. Nice and easy, this. And again, if you think the plug's too big, just put a little bit of soil in the bottom, a little bit of compost in the bottom, in with the plug, and then just top it up with your hand like this. If you pour it in like your hand like a funnel, tap the side of the pot and it all sprinkles around the outside. Look. I think I'm not going to bother with those two actually. I'm going to leave them, I got enough. Yeah, I'm going to leave those. So that takes us swiftly on to basically a very similar thing with the Agrilan. Right, have you ever seen an Agrilan before? 49 plugs, and you've got a clever little system at the side where you can push this is the older type, mind, this is the older one. You pull these out like this, and then we just press down and all the plugs pop out like that, making it dead easy to pot on. So this is number 74, one of the marigolds. Dustbin men out the front, doing a great job, guys, thank you very much. And this one, here we are, let's see. This one I'll do the other way again. I'll just put a little bit in the bottom, in with the plug. These are tall marigolds actually, even though they're French ones, they're quite tall. I think they're Bonita mix. There we are. Like I said before, just a normal, everyday, common garden, multi-purpose compost for this one. These are going up the plot soon. I'm only going to be in here for a few weeks. But they're running out of nutrition in the Agrilan. And these ones I'll do with the dibbing method. Dib a hole. Straight in. Push down a little bit and firm around the outside. So easy. I don't think I'll ever go back to doing seed trays as such. I do them now and again for onions and that sort of thing, but this is so much easier. Here we are, and 2 calendulas, numbers... Can't read that. 73. Can't read my own writing. I say I'm not too fussed about how many of these I get because they are, well, wild volunteers at the allotment. Calendula and the marigolds. Pick the leaves up. Plug in the hole, job done. Right, in the water. Next, I'm going to leave that one. I'm going to plant that one in the veggie pot at the front in a minute, and that one. Right, let's put these in a water bath, back in a minute. Okay, then on to potting on. I suppose potting on is pricking out its big brother, isn't it? Normally, when you pot on into one size bigger pot. So 5 would go into a 7, 7 into a 9 centimetre. It's a bit weedy, this one, actually. Yeah, not good, yeah. No, I'll keep it, I do prefer square pots to round pots. I know this is deeper, forget that. But they're both 7 centimetres at the top. But with the square pot, like, you get all this extra space for compost, so you can get more in there. And they fit together better in trays and things like that. So anyway, what you normally do, like I said, is you normally pot on to one size up. A couple of ways of doing this. You can either, yeah, I got enough to do both actually. You could tip it out, tip the plant out, again, being careful with the roots, a little bit of compost in the bottom, pop the ball in. I'm trying to do it so you can see as usual, and then top it up with compost as we did with the pricking out, really. A little bit of tapping down around the outside, and there we are, it's done. I'm going to put this a little bit deeper, this one, because it's of the tomato family, so it can stand going a bit deeper, because it was a little bit weedy, this one. Okay, the second way of doing it, again, same size pot as before. What we do is get the next size up pot, a little bit of compost in the bottom, a bit too much there, I think. And then you put the pot in and fill around the pot. But don't put the pot in like that. Turn it a bit like that so the corners line up with the edges. And then you've got these big spaces. Easier to get compost in. And I'll show you when I've done it, hang on. Carefully take it out. And what I'm going to show you now is the flat there is now going that way, so there's loads of compost to mate with. There we are, plonk them in, top it up, job done. It's probably easier to show you this on a bigger pot. So let me do it again with no plant, but a bigger pot. So a little bit in the bottom. Pot in like that, and then fill up around the outsides. Level it off, give it a wiggle to firm the compost in place in the new pot. And I can't see it, but I'm guessing you can. There's your lovely square hole for your next plant to go in. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Right, that's those two done. Of course, this frees up more pots for later on as well. Right, I want to put these 3 that I've got left into one big pot. And I've got one ready somewhere. He says, Mr. Prepared as usual. And I'm using the last of my Durstons for this. Durstons tub and basket compost. Not sure if this will work with tomatillos, but it should do. So, nice deep hole. You need at least 2 tomatillos to get any fruit. They cross-pollinate. So that's why I'm putting 3 in one pot. Hedging my bet, so to speak. If they're looking a bit crowded, I can always tip them out and pot them on again. There we are then. Let's see how that goes. Give me a water in a minute. In fact, it's supposed to thunder and lightning in a minute, but it hasn't started yet. Right, that's that one done as well. Flying along again. Now I've got 2 aubergine black beauties left. That one's bigger, that one's staying at home, that one's going to the allotment. Trouble is, I am carless at the moment, and I think I may stay carless for quite a long time, you know. I don't think I'm going to miss the car. The amount, I worked out the amount I use it this year, and I'll tell you what, it's almost like negligible. I've been on my bike more than anything. Trouble is, That's not so bad. That'll fit in the front basket on the bike. But getting this sort of thing up to the allotment, bit of a pain unless I tip them out first. So, you know, there's always a solution, isn't there? We'll see. The big problem I will have is getting bags of compost to the allotment, but I'm sure, I might have to phone them up in a minute actually, I'm sure my local nursery delivers as long as there's enough quantity, like 6 bags. Right, another pot for this and that'll be us done, I think. Oh no, we've got to do the coocher, so another pot, no, another pot. Okay, what we're going to do with this one again then, I'm going to tip it out. Have I got a spare pot handy? Yes, I have. Got a spare pot. So same sort of principle really. I'm going to top up around the outside. This is the Wildmore compost, so we've got a bit of everything here. I can't see what I'm doing. Play it by ear, so to speak. Gentle firming down. Give the pot a good wiggle, and that just sets the sides of the hole. Be careful taking that out. Yep, that's worked. Squeeze the pot. Squeeze the pot to get the plant out. Lovely roots. Pop them in, firm it down, and tamp it down. And that's it, guys. That's not a bad looking plant. Better than they were looking last year, that's for sure. That leaves us with the giant Bolivia acucha now. This will be a bit awkward to get to the allotment, won't it? So what I'm going to do with this, I'm not ready for this, that's the problem. What I'm going to do, I'm trying to build a teepee of canes. I can sit inside with all the climbers up the outside. This is far too advanced for that at the moment because I want to put runner beans, climbing beans. I'm not even starting them off yet. So I'm going to trim this back actually. I reckon that'll shoot from the base. Yeah, so I'm going to cut that back. Oh, just about there, I reckon. Yeah, there. Sorry, mate. I could pot that up. I don't know if I want to. Yeah, I might do that. I mean, right. And that can go in that pot there. So a little bit of Wildmore in the base. Ooh, a bit too much. And this one, I'm going to try and keep the cane with it. Oh, feeling good, feeling good. Top the pot up around the outsides. Nice vibratory action to get the outsides filled up. Get that cane square. And there we are, another one potted up, another one potted up. Another one potted up. Anyway, but that is me for a little bit of a instructional, tuitional video on pricking out and potting up. There's a lot more to it than this, and there's probably a million different ways of doing it. Just an insight into how I do it, guys, you know. Look after yourselves, take care, and I'll catch you on that next video, that way. I always get it the wrong place. Take care, guys.